speaking of representation, you know, kind of from what I've seen lately, it's more of a, you have to make your own thing happen. And, you know, that's kind of what I felt too. And that's why I started the festival, because one, I was tired of being told I didn't look like an executive director. I was tired of being told, you know, where I was the one doing all the work in every scenario, but not getting the title or the credit because I didn't look right for them, whatever that what meant, right? So I think I've heard that too from a lot of actors and writers and directors, kind of like create your own thing because you're not being kind of let in to the bubble, if you will. Is that what you guys have found too? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, starting out, I had people say things to me, you know, they'll remain nameless, but just like kind of like, oh, you know, like you won't get far because of this thing or that thing. And it all is centered around something to do with how I look or how I sound or where I'm from, you know.
Yep, same.
And, you know, I've had like directors tell this to me, teachers, and I'm just like, wow, you know. And so I just, you know, decided, you know what, that's not gonna, especially at like, and I think getting into it later in like my life, professional life helped because I kind of went through similar things in different just like playing sports and basketball. Like I was too little or this, whatever. You know, I kind of went through that always being
Right, yeah.
outed or put in a box like you can't do something because of
Yep.
whatever. So having gone through all the experiences and now in the entertainment industry and filmmaking, and it's like, okay, sure, whatever. I'm gonna find a way now. Like it doesn't matter, you know. Like so, it really is just making your own opportunity, not letting anybody tell you that you can't do something because there's always when there's a will, there's a way. As long as you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. And you know, and I remember talking to Kisha a couple of years ago, like when we like kind of like first met, and she was like making her own, like started making her own stuff and was like telling me about it, and I was just like, you know, just like go for it, do it. And she popped up with like her own stuff, and I was just like, that's cool, you know, like people actually go and do it, you know, and make it happen. So you know, it's just good to see when you take control of your own career and what you want, you know.
And I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I just made a film and I was like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It actually ended up going pretty well. So I feel like you kind of have to step into the fear a little bit and step into the unknown, because they say when you run towards the fear, that means you're doing something good, and chances are something good will come out of it. And, you know, obviously you make mistakes along the way, but in the end, I've learned so much. And I tell people, it's like, just do it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, it's still going to end up being a good experience. And, you know, I do it all over again, still with knowing nothing.
Yeah, I think people often say, well, I don't have experience in that. And my answer is always, well, then you do it and then you will. Right. So
100%.
you don't have experience in it until you've done it, and then you just do it. Right. And
exactly.
then, oh,
I never,
that, you know,
before I made my first film, I was like, I knew nothing about production. I just was like, I need a DP. I need a sound person. I need a cast. I'm primarily an actor learning about the other side. And I kind of threw in the universe, like, I want to make this film. And, you know, people just kind of came to me, and I figured it out collectively with this group of people. And I think you kind of just have to jump in feet first, because that's yeah.
That's the point. That's the best point right there you just made. It's be smart enough to know you don't know everything, and then surround yourself with people who know just even a little bit more than you. As long as they know just a little bit more in an area that you're not an expert at, they'll be able to at least take that little bit of knowledge and build on it, and then in turn teach you, and then you're collaborating. You know, because like you said, Kisha, you know, I'm an actor also. I knew nothing about production or anything like that before I made Fiore. Like, but I had an actor friend who was producing stuff, and I was like, oh, she looks like she knows what she's doing. Let me like enlist her, and then you know, that I'm on set with like other professional crew people, and I'm like, hey, this sound person's cool. Let me contact that person and see if they'll be willing to do it. You know, and you'll be surprised if you just ask what you'll get. You know, like the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. You know, I had people come in and say, you know what, I'll lower my rate because I like the story, or like you're cool, like I'll do this and this, that, you know. And when you get people like that around you who are really just about making something in that collaborative camaraderie between people, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and going to your point of like, people are willing, we don't think people are willing to help us, but when you just ask for something, you'll be surprised at how many people will jump to be like, oh my God, of course I'll help you. You're a good person. I love what you're doing. Yeah, let's do this. And that's what I did. I just kind of asked for things. Like I ended up figured out how to get food donated for my first film, got food fully donated. My first AD brought in all my PAs. Like he went out of his way and did more than I could ask for, because he's like, I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing. You're a good person. I want to help you. And I've learned, like, it's scary to ask for help, but ask for help because there are so many people who are cheering for you and want to see you succeed. But sometimes it's hard to take that step of being like, okay, I think I need help. But then there are people there that want to help you.
Well, actually, can we go around and just introduce ourselves? Because I
Sorry.
didn't do that. That's how I should have started. I'm Nina Fiore. I'm the founder and executive director of the Astoria Film Festival. Welcome, and thank you to everyone who's signing on. Thank you to the panel for being here. Kind of, if we can go around the Zoom, if you will.
Yeah. I'm Kisha Peart. I'm an actress, writer, and I have a film in this year's festival.
Hi, I'm Ashley Gerst. I am a freelance animator and college professor, and I also have a film in this year's festival called The Spirit Scene.
Marta?
I'm Marta. I am a filmmaker and producer from Spain, and I am this year in the festival with a short film called Welcome to New York.
And it's a horror, and it is 1 a.m. in Spain, so thank you, Marta.
Yes, you're welcome.
Stephen, did you go?
No, I'm Stephen St. Pierre. I'm an actor, comedian, filmmaker. I had a film in last year's festival titled Corey, and we were blessed to win the Audience Choice Award last year.
Jason? Jason, we can't hear you.
Oh,
There we
you
are.
think after 7 months of doing this, I would be able to have a hang of it, right? Anyway, I'm Jason. Thanks for having me. So great to be with everybody. I am an actor and a writer, director. I have a film in this year's festival. We finished our film like right before the cutoff. It's a horror film called A Good Night's Rest that I produced and I starred in. And our good friend I actually met at last year's festival, John Noel, directed and wrote it. Yeah, it was a collaboration that happened because of last year's festival. So that's
Which is
really
the best
cool
thing ever.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. Yeah, John and I met last year and we really hit it off, and yeah, we made a movie.
And
It's a
Jason
full
also
circle moment.
won Best Comedy Web Series and Best Actor last year at our festival.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
He
I'm
won't
really
say
happy
it, so I will.
I'm really shy sometimes.
And we have Natalia and Priscilla and Ralph with us. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves too?
Hi, I'm Natalia. I'm a musician. I usually do music for other people's films, but this year I guess I am a filmmaker because I have a film in the Astoria Film Festival. So I'm here to learn from all of you.
Congratulations.
Priscilla?
Thank you.
My name is Priscilla Selges. I'm a screenwriter based in Miami. So greetings from Miami. And I'm really psyched to be part of this film festival this year in 2020. And we wrote the screenplay Broken Birds. So we're really, really, really excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Ralph?
I'm Ralph Toporoff. I'm the writer-director of a TV series called The Blue Marble, and we are in this year's festival.
Natalie?
Hi, I might be popping in and out a little, so I'm going to turn my video off, but I didn't want to be a stranger, but I'm excited for this. I'm the producer, writer, and one of the actors in Stuck, which is in the festival, and I'm excited to start watching some stuff.
Cool. Well, before we probably should have, we started talking about representation and how basically each of us has not, by not finding a place for us in our respective jobs, we've decided to make our own place. And I was saying kind of what I did with the festival, and Kisha and Stephen were saying that's what they've done with their filmmaking. And we were kind of going around the panel to discuss that topic, but feel free if you have other things you'd like to discuss. But just kind of the idea of, you know, you don't fit into somebody else's idea of what should be in that role, whether it's an acting role or a producing role or an executive role. So you kind of forge your own way forward in order to prove that you can do anything. And how we were saying, basically, you know, everybody's always like, oh, but I've never done that before. And it's just a matter of doing it. And then voila, you've done that now. So that was kind of where we left off when I realized we hadn't introduced ourselves. So, and Marta, we hadn't heard from you. I want to get you before you fall asleep. So talk to us.
No, because you were talking, guys, about how you don't have to be afraid to ask people to help you with your project. And I remember when I was living in New York, I used to think that movie making was about 35 millimeters and this big crew, and that you need all this stuff. And I ran into this guy from LA, and he said to me, do what you can with what you have.
Yep.
And prove what you can do. And
Yes.
don't wait for people to give you the money or to have the perfect crew or to have everything that you have dreamed of to make your ideas reality. Just go ahead, work it out with what you have, and you will learn and you will see. And I think that was a very good advice, because I think I was wrong. I was waiting for something super magical to happen, and that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. No, I think it's true. And I think that's, you know, that's a lot what I've seen in different film programs for education. I've seen in our workshop, like, it's like, okay, you know, every kid wants to have like spaceships. And it's like, all right, we have this budget and this room and these people. So you have to, like, what do you do with this? And that it's not only grounding, it's helpful, because then not everybody's out in outer space, literally. They like have to come down and do what is in front of them. So I think that's great advice.
Yes, to me it was great, and also like every time that I felt like working or moving with some project or to another country or to do whatever, I don't think about the limitations that society wants me to think as a woman. I go, as a person, I work. Of course, I find obstacles, I put them aside, I keep going.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't think, oh, I cannot do this because I'm a woman, because they are gonna think this and that. Of course, you're gonna find that in life, all over, in work, in life, everything. But you cannot stop. And our profession requires an amount of passion. So sometimes you're up, sometimes you're really down because things that you don't like happen around you. But you pick it up and you go ahead and don't listen to the negativity. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ashley?
Yeah, that's so true.
In my experience with making my film, we were talking a little bit earlier about asking for help. And I'm honestly really honored to have a lot of really very talented friends that I fell into along the way through I went to School of Visual Arts for grad school. And so I met a lot of really amazing people there. And then also from undergrad, I'm originally from Cleveland. Now I live in New York. And so I have a great community and I have a really, really great support system, and making the Spirit Scene was a huge part of that. When it comes to being a woman, for me, it's not necessarily, to piggyback off of what was just said, it's not necessarily what I think I can't do. It's that I need to make sure I really succeed well, because I think that that's the mark of, especially being a woman that's an animator. There's only like 23% of animation positions worldwide are filled by women. And then even fewer as you get like up into higher levels of, within the industry. And so being a woman and being an animator, I need to make sure I represent us very, very well. And that's one of my big things that really I get kind of hung up on a good bit too, is like a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, am I going to do good? Is this going to be good? And I can't tell you how many times I like had that conversation with my husband. It's about like once a week. And he's like, yes, it's going to be good. Just finish it. So I had a lot of really good support, which is I can't say how thankful I am for it. There aren't words for it, but you know, as a woman, I was like, but I have to do this. I have to do a really good job, and it's just going to continue other women and younger women to be able to do that after me.
Definitely.
Regarding that, I have to say also that sometimes it feels like women, we have to prove ourselves 100 times more than guys sometimes. Like you're looking for excellence.
Yeah, and you can't make a mistake.
How many people are there working and they are fine? You can be fine, no? We usually, you want to stand up and you want to be excellent. That's a huge pressure, I think.
You know what?
Completely agree.
That's so, and it's so archaic. Because honestly, I surround myself with women. Like, you don't understand how brilliant you guys are. Like, I'm like, for real, you know, like, I'm telling you, like, if you see a man, believe there is women around. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. I don't, like, to me, it's still like, it's a foreign thought to me. I understand it, like, you know, society thinks like that and stuff, but just like me personally, or the people I know, we know you got to have women around. You know, I consult with women all the time. Like, I have a lot of women friends in the industry, and just personally, and even the ones in the industry are personal friends. You know, like my co-producer on my film was a actress I met in acting class, and we remained friends through the years. And she's taught me so much. She's the one that pushed me to do more than just being an actor, because she was like, you know, things are kind of like evolving in the industry where you have to be hyphenates now. You know, that before it used to be looked upon that you're not focusing on something enough. Now it's like, you're only doing one thing?
Yeah, you gotta do it all.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I surround myself with women. You guys are brilliant people. You bring something that, you know, as men we just don't have, and I need it. So I need it.
Even with my organization, like I see, like for judging, for example, the differences between the films that the men like and the films that the women like are so stark that if I didn't have either group, I would have a very different festival. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to have more representation, otherwise you're just not getting it. You know what I mean? Like, you're missing out.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm a black man, so that.
What? Shut up.
Oh,
wait, there could be more than one of us.
Right. And you know, just that in itself, like you said, Nina, it really is just having that diverse thought process, you know. And you're just better for it, no matter where you are, you know.
Absolutely.
You're better for having diverse thoughts.
I mean, why that isn't just obvious, I don't know, but it isn't. And that's why we have panels like this, because it's not yet just obvious. I don't understand why, you know. Jason, you have thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I second everything that's been said so far. I mean, women should be running this country. Women should be running the world. We all know that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important as a member of a marginalized community to share our stories. You know, I think it's important for women to share their stories, for people of color to share their stories. You know, for LGBTQ, you should be in charge of the narrative of your story that you want to tell. So I think that's like very important. I'm all about empowering other creators. Like Nina knows that I run an artist collective, and like I just think it's so important for people to have the support to share their stories. Because I mean, we're tired of seeing the same kind of like straight white guy story doing the same thing that we've seen from the beginning of time, right? So it's like there's more out there, right? There's just so many people out there that we can definitely, just so many stories to tell that don't get shared.
Absolutely.
I guess I love the festival. I mean, Nina knows so much I love her, because she always has a great lineup of such great and like diverse films. I don't know, it's so powerful.
I mean, you know, what's the point if not, right? Like, there's 1,000 million festivals. If you're not trying to like bring everybody's voice to the table, like, why bother? You know.
Yeah, that's so true.
Any thoughts from?
I think that I think that all of us, we work in indie productions, no, like independent. We don't work in big studios, right?
I used to.
I know you used to, but you see, like, I think people in our side, we get it. Like every time I go to New York and I film something there, our crew is always super diverse. And we don't have this problem that we are talking right now here. I'm a producer, I'm a female producer, like respect, everybody is okay. I don't have any issues like with the cast, with the people. I think we bond stronger and we help each other stronger. I think the big conversation and the real issue, it's in big studios.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for Viacom, I worked for Paramount, I worked for CBS, MTV, PBS. It's not that diverse. No matter, they've tried to make it more so, but for the most part, it's one or two people that get through, and then they're forced to more or less assimilate if they're going to stay there. Or even if I think of like, yeah, I mean, that's part of why I left. I was just tired of that routine of the whole, and it's also, I left because there was a lot of, everybody's just backstabbing and scamming and playing a game. And, I just was like, I just want to do some good work. Like I don't want to spend my entirety figuring out who's trying to take my budget. Like, that was corporate. Like you just, it's like, oh, wait, what group is after our budget now? But yeah, so it was definitely a lot of that. But yeah, even if you look at, Ashley and I talked about this in her interview with there's on Netflix, there's an animation shorts compilation from Disney, right? And they have the kind of producer, director, animator, like a group of people discussing the short before they air it. And it's so white. It's like the whitest. And my husband and I watch it, we're like, oh my God, like this is I've never, like, the people are so very Midwestern that it's crazy. And you're just like, oh my God, like Disney, what is happening with you over there? And then thank God they've tried to diversify, like for certain films. So like at least Coco was made, with Latino people, but like, or they made some effort, right? But still like predominantly heavily white. So anyway.
And then you know what too though, with some of that, like, because you touched on like one of the animations being of a certain group, but they integrated some of that group into it, but still the head.
Oh yes.
The head people are still, usually white males trying to tell a story of another group. And then when it fails, they say, see, it's not going to work. No, you didn't tell it right. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't have the people that should be telling the story heavily involved or making key decisions. I didn't see the movie yet, but I saw a couple of Facebook posts from people about Antebellum with Janelle Monáe. Yeah. And that being told, or like the executive producers were like, white people. But the story was, supposed to be about this Black woman and what have you. And they're saying it wasn't like, not saying the movie was a flop, but saying that it wasn't as good as it should be. Right. And I think that you can point to that, with a lot of like tropes in it or things that aren't authentic to, the Black community, and people watching just like what is this? So that's where the representation really, really, really matters, is making those key decisions, the executive level of having people.
And distribution also.
Right.
Like what it is worldwide. I'm from Spain, Europe, whatever, no? I live in the States for a few years and I know your culture. But being from Spain, for example, I have never been exposed to movies with only the movies from Hollywood, you know what I mean? And now I have a lot of friends that they say, hey Marta, check out this Blackula, or check out like this super cool, like funky 70s amazing movies that I never seen, because I think they didn't get distribution at least worldwide, no?
No, that's true.
I don't know if it is happening now or not, but I think that's another conversation that they should have there, no? Because we are here.
Oh, no, it is, because that's been a narrative for a long time. Like, oh, this kind of movie won't do well internationally. Or this won't do. Like, where are you getting that from? You haven't even really put in, like Martha's saying, the marketing dollars to distribute it and market it properly in these markets. Like, so how will you know they're not going to succeed? You know?
And that's kind of the beauty of streaming, right? Like Amazon, Netflix is that long tail, and kind of finding those little gems that people gravitate to that weren't promoted, that didn't get any marketing money, but that still got the attention because they're just good.
Right.
And word gets around. So like that's kind of, I guess, a better thing of the current time is that independent work, like I think of Issa Rae and like Awkward Black Girl and becoming Insecure on HBO, and like that wouldn't have happened if web series weren't taken seriously. So I mean, thank God for that. But the heads of state, heads of companies are still predominantly the same old. So it's hard to get to infiltrate that way. You have to kind of just, but then it goes back to just do the work, do good work, and it will get attention, right? So it's kind of back to that. But it isn't easy. And yeah, you're going to get more attention if you come from a rich family and your parents have connections or the money to promote, like they're all in such a tight circle, like, having gone to Harvard, it's like they're all in such a tight circle, and then they know everybody. So, if your parent's the CEO of Pepsi, you're going to have like.
But whose parent is the CEO of Pepsi here?
I'm saying I went to school.
I thought you saw somebody here.
CEO of Pepsi, or, CEO of, I mean, everybody was a CEO. Every parent was a CEO.
Yeah, but that
my dad was a barber. So, it was interesting. But their connections are infinite. So of course, anything they do is getting major attention just because they're able to have the connections, whether or not it's top notch.
Yeah, the DP knew he had all the information, and then suddenly he was not okay with what I was offering.
Even
and
the film that I AD'd, I was actually the executive producer on, and then the AD never sent out, like we were asking for call sheets, and there were no call, and I was like, well, I guess I'm the AD now because it has to happen.
I know. And then I thought I could wear on my second film, I was like, I kind of know what I'm doing. It's a smaller crew, smaller cast. I'll also be AD. Don't ever do that.
No.
So I was like, I don't need a first AD on this set. Like I'll also be first AD. And that's when I had a breakdown, when I realized it was too many hats that I was trying to wear. And one of my PAs who worked on my first set ended up stepping in and did an amazing job. And he wore the hat of AD and he kept track of stuff on set. He was such a rock star. But I learned my lesson. Don't try to be actor, writer, producer, and AD, because you're just going to kill yourself.
Yeah,
so I definitely learned my lessons. I was ambitious.
That's a lot.
We're starting to say something. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
The amount of time you will spend in the hospital after trying to do that, it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it at all.
Stephen, you were starting to say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, Kisha said she's the AD actor. It's like she's rushing herself in the scene. Like, hurry up, Kisha, you got to get this one take. We gotta go. But yeah, I mean, I was many hats on my first film, and it is overwhelming. Like, I literally had like a breakdown. Like the day after we wrapped, I was in an Uber with my PA that had just met on Friday, and we're returning gear on that Monday. And my DP had like already turned around some of the footage, like from the shoot, like a 1 minute clip of like a scene, and he sent it to me, and we're in the back of the Uber, and I look at it and I just started crying. Like literally, it was so, like, I finally just let it all out. It was so overwhelming. And my PA is like, God bless her heart. She's like rubbing my back, just met me, like, just like, it's all right. She's like, go ahead, let it out. You know, it's your baby. Get it. You know?
It's true. It's overwhelming when it's, especially when it's like your first baby and your first thing that you're doing, and then you see all the elements come together. And even though you have things that fall apart, it's like once you finish and you're like, I did that. Okay. And then when you first get to see it in the first, you know, your first rough cut after your editor, and then you see that, oh my God, I have a film. And then obviously, you know, you clean it up. But I think that first time where you watch it and you're like, wow, did I do that? I think that was pretty cool as someone who didn't know what they were doing and then saw that, oh, I can do this. Like if you believe in yourself and you believe in your project, even if you get 75 no's, it takes the one yes.
You gotta kind of have a naive confidence almost, you know, like when you don't, it's kind of like you just go and do it because you're just like, I can do it. You may not know what's coming, but because sometimes when you do know, you limit yourself. You start to be like, I don't know if I can do that. That's a lot. This is too much. This, that. But if you just go ahead and just start and get the ball rolling, yes, you'll hit bumps in a road, but that's the, you know, physics, inertia. It's rolling. You'll hit bumps and you'll go over it. You push harder. You'll get over it. You know, things will happen. Sometimes it happens for the better. You know, like I've had a location lost 2 days before we had to shoot, and I had a scramble. And it turned out the location that I found and was blessed with turned out to be better, you know, for the scene. So things will happen. You know, to take everyone's points and kind of combine them. Something will always happen. You know, some things bigger than others. But something will always happen. But like Kisha saying, and like Ralph saying, making a film is a big deal. Accomplishing something is a huge, major deal. And if you can just push through, believe in yourself, and get that thing done, like your confidence boosts, whether like Kisha's saying, some people may rock with it, some people may not. You know, you'll get your feedback. You know, not everything's gonna be the greatest, but the biggest hurdle is finishing something. Finish something for the first time, whether it's the greatest thing in the world or, you know, not that great, but you were able to finish. So now people believe you can get something done. Now it's about just like tweaking here. This is how you can make it better. This is how you can get better. These people will help make your thing better, but they know they know you're an accomplisher. And that's what people want around them, is people who will finish things.
And that, like, that goes, sorry, go ahead, Chase.
No, I was just gonna say you're setting like the foundation for the next project, right? Because you're showing like, okay, I got this. I was able to accomplish this much. Now I know, like, I have a baseline now. And I can go on to the next thing. It's gonna be a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit more ambitious, but you know you have a foundation right there. That's what it's all about, right? It's like not being too afraid to just like create something and finish something. It's a huge accomplishment. I agree, Stephen.
Right.
And I think that goes back to what I said at the beginning, where it's like people are always worried, oh, I haven't done that. I don't have experience in that. You know, well, you do it and you will. Once you do it, you will have that experience. You have done that, and now you can't say that anymore, right? So I think I hear that a lot, like, oh, I've never done that. I don't know. Well, do it then. You'll know. Either you'll like it or you won't, or you'll succeed or you'll fail, but you've done it, and then you know, one way or the other.
And no matter whether it's filmmaking or whether it's things in everyday life, everyone has gotten to a point where they're like, I've never done this, but you learn and you figure it out. And that's just a part of life, is navigating that and just pushing through that, you know, favoring area.
Very good advice. On the very first feature I did, I was a novice. I had a real old production manager who had been around forever. And we were laying it out. We had 31 days and 29 locations.
God.
And I'm looking at this thing going, oh my God. I said, you know, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And he said, you know what? Never look at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
The end of the tunnel, you'll realize it can't be done. And he said, okay, tomorrow we're going to do this. And then we're going to see what happens after that. And we're going to go day by day. And for some reason, movies get done.
Absolutely. I mean, I think even thinking about this festival, like, what do you do now that it's like COVID and can't have that many people, you can't go be in a room, you know, like, and people were like, somebody asked me at the opening night, oh, so what about the 25th? And I was like, not going to think about that till the 23rd. Like, get back to me. Like, I can only 2 days ahead. That's all the bandwidth I have. And I think that's the same. It's been the same with a lot of my event planning. It's been the same with a lot of my production work. Is like, if you, such great advice. Like, don't look, you look at the end of the tunnel, you see the train barreling at you. So you've got to just focus on like the next 2 days at most is my feeling too. That's so true.
I think as you guys progress in your careers, you'll start to build up a cadre of people that you trust. So Kenesha, it's like elephant memory. That person, that DP that dropped out on you, you will never forget that person. He will never, or she will never work with you again. And what I did, and I find over the years, you know, I have a few cinematographers I know. I sort of have a group of actors that I know and things like that. So, and then you just take on the ones that are trustworthy and drop all the other ones. You know, no excuses.
And also, I think, you know, that's what you see in professional circles, right? The same people work together again and again because they trust each other and they know that they're going to get the job done, especially when you're working with millions of dollars and, you know, that budget, you don't want to mess around with that. So you're going to go to the people, which unfortunately is back to the idea of representation, which is why people get stuck in those little circles of people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what causes the lack of representation. So it's kind of, but, you know, I think the online genre has opened up opportunity for just good work to be seen more and get more attention and then push those people forward, right? So now the Issa Raes of the world, and, you know, we'll have a place at the table, and God willing, they bring more people up to that level. But then also, I think something else we talked about that was touched on was, you know, telling your story and being true, like telling your truth. Like if you make a passion project like this, I think it's because you had to, right? Like you couldn't not tell that story. And I think by doing that, you reach the heart of people who are going through similar things you're going through. And by touching those people's hearts, you're very much finding your audience. And, you know, that's so important, right? And so I think, and that's why I think representation is important too, because you're touching different people's hearts, because we've all had different experiences based on our background and, you know, looks and family, whatever it is that makes us who we are. We've all had such different experiences, but the more of us that have a place at the table, the more we touch a variety of people's hearts. So I find like the indie film world to be so important because of that. Like I haven't seen that kind of heart in the mainstream. And I think people are realizing that too, which is why, you know, more and more people are turning to like, okay, what's that odd thing on Netflix that you said was really good? I want to watch that. Or like, what's that, you know, like really trying to find those tail end pieces of the data curve, if you will, where these little blips where like, oh, people found that, that's interesting, you know? So yeah, I appreciate all of your work, because I feel like it's this work that brings that representation forward, that will push the bar, you know what I mean? And push people to include more people because the work is so good, right? So you can deny everybody's outer appearance all you want, but you can't deny good work, I hope. Right? That's my hope, is that people can't deny good work. So the work that you're doing is really important.
Yeah, I think
That's
also
so true.
that people are waking up and realizing the power of diversity, you know? Because we can show different stories, but somehow they connect with a universal feeling, which is the cool thing about it, no? That you can have the same feeling from different perspectives, and that's richness in our work.
Yep. Jason, you were gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, well, I wanted to say like three things, like three really quick things, which was, well, one of them was like, try to find like a tip for filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers, try to find grants. Like I've always been told there's free money out there, blah, blah, blah. And supposedly there is, like, I'm not sure now if like the whole COVID situation, but like, it's a job in its own. But seriously, like almost every town or state has like an arts foundation, and people are always looking to like give money to women's, like, or to minorities. Like just make time for yourself at least once a week for like an hour or two. Just go and do some grant researching, and like try to get that money to fund your projects, because it is out there.
Definitely. And you got the Queen's Council on the Arts grant, right?
Yeah, that was like my first one. That was my first one. I applied to like 20 and I got one, but like, I mean, that's our business, right?
Yeah.
It's always our business. You apply to like 100 and you get one, acting jobs or, directing jobs, everything in this industry.
But it is definitely a job. You're correct in that, it's another job to do, is do grant research and find, but it's well worth it, and free money, basically. Oh, not completely free, your time and effort towards grant writing, but still.
Yeah. And I was also going to say, like YouTube has been such a, I mean, it's such a basic thing, right? But you can find anything on YouTube. And like, I love watching like, just like people who like make 1 minute films, or they have like their tutorials, and you can learn so much by just watching a couple of videos. And like, we're so fortunate, that we have these things. You can do so much with a phone, So if you're like nervous about it, or like you want to pursue filmmaking, but you don't know where to start, watch a couple of videos and like get your phone and shoot a couple things here and there and start piecing things together in iMovie. And that's like building the foundation I think Steven and Kisha are talking about, and eventually keep doing more and more and more. But don't be afraid to try it, because we have all the tools at our fingertips right now.
And what was 3? I feel like that was 2.
What was 3? Oh, I don't remember. It wasn't important, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, they were great, but I didn't want you to leave it out. Yeah, I cut my own hair last week via a YouTube tutorial. So there, everything's on YouTube. But yeah, I've been learning like Premiere and Audition. Just kind of as I hit problems, I go in and like, okay, well, let me watch the 5 videos about this problem. And between once you've seen those 5 videos, someone's hitting upon your issue, and someone's getting through to you in the way you need. So it's great. It's a great tool, and hair cutting as well.
And I think also I was going to say,
it goes 3.
3 was
I knew it was in there.
It was in there. It's also another basic thing, but I think it's important. Is like, if you're writing something, I think most of us here are creators and writers. Like, you can make a character be diverse. I felt like, for example, I was working on a film and there was like 2 cop characters, right? And they were written as Irish men, and I was like, why do they have to be Irish men? Like, why can't I mean,
was it 1920 in this film?
No, it wasn't. It was just I think the writer just wrote it that way, and so I was like, why don't we just make one of them a woman? Like, why can't one of the detectives be a woman? And he was like, I don't know, why can't one of them be a woman? And I was like, let's make him a woman. And so like that adds more diversity to your project. We made the other cop like Hispanic. I was like, I have a good friend, and he's Latin. Like, we can just change the name to a Spanish last name. Like, there you go. It's like, it's easy, and there's like, you increased your diversity there. You gave someone an opportunity, and you made your film better, Then
that took you, Jason, being there.
In the room.
Represented in the room to say and make that suggestion, right?
Yeah.
And I think more white people in those situations need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, the group left out can't be left the only one fighting to get included, like that. White people need to step up. If you're in that room, get people in with you, like, make sure it's a diverse group. You can't leave it up to the group being left out to like bring
It's
themselves in.
happening, right? Are we optimistic, right? I'm very. I think it's gonna happen soon. I think it's opening a little bit, little by little. Or
We
you
hope.
feel super down with it. I hope.
We shall. The next month will reveal a lot. So
I've been checking before today. I've been checking numbers of how many movies have been directed in 2017 by women, by men, blah blah. And still, we have a lot of things to do, but it's moving. So there is a positive sign there in general. And now Hollywood is gonna make more diversity to go to the Oscars. And some actors are asking for how do you call that, inclusion rider in the contract.
Yes. But yeah, that exactly like the point of they have to demand it, you know. And I think we have to hold the, you know, even if it's just tweeting at them constantly, like make sure your cast is diverse. You know, if they hear it enough, they might be like, oh, I don't want to make my audience angry. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to hold them accountable, but we need to.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, in many areas.